All right, as communities across the country celebrate Juneteenth, many people are reflecting on the holiday's deeper meaning, a day that marks the end of slavery in the United States and honors Black freedom, resilience, and culture.
That's right. Here in the district, the National Museum of African American History and Culture is helping bring that history to life through education, celebration, and food. And this morning, we're getting a special taste of that tradition. Executive Chef Ramin Coles from the museum's Sweet Home Cafe joins us now. It is so good to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
We really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
And we want to just, do
Explain
something
what
nice
this
for
is
you.
all about,
Yes.
right?
Such a beautiful display. Now, I know that food plays such an important role, right, in cultural traditions. Why is culinary heritage such an important part of really telling the African American story?
Well, first of all, African American food is America's original food. Right. So starting with that, but also any culture with regards to your food, it talks about your history. It talks about the things that have happened to you. Also, how your culture changes with where you're at. So we are creatures of habitat. So just because you had something where you were, the dish changes where you go. And that's reflective in the dish we're making today.
All right, so talk about what the dish that you're making today and how that's relevant and the relevance of all that.
So this is a dish we're actually currently running in the museum. This is a Gullah red rice. So when the Gullah people came over from West Africa, they came and they brought their traditions. This is a direct line between jollof rice and jambalaya.
Awesome.
So this is made with the Cadillac of rice. It can be made with any kind of rice, but we make it with Carolina Gold to respect the tradition.
Okay.
So what happens is, like I was saying before, because you had something at home, doesn't mean you have it here.
Right.
So when they came, the ingredients changed. So one of the biggest changes in the ingredients was not having like a chili paste. So that's where you start seeing the advent of adding tomatoes.
Okay.
So,
Ooh, I hear
The
it. You hear
sizzle.
that sizzling over there?
so you got some
Yeah.
sizzling going on.
Yeah, okay.
So let's talk about this really quick.
Okay.
This is actually a pork-based dish. So
Okay.
everybody doesn't eat pork, but there are substitutions that can be made.
Okay.
You can use
All right.
kielbasa or something like that.
Okay.
So we have rendered some bacon lardon. So it's squares of bacon. Then we have some andouille sausage, and we render it down. As it starts to cook, we
Okay.
add some onions.
Oh,
Okay.
So
it's going to smell so good in here.
traditionally, this is in more like Louisiana, New Orleans style cooking. This would be the Trinity.
Yep.
So you got chopped peppers, onions,
Okay.
celery, and that's your Trinity. It's mirepoix.
Okay.
So in this case, because we're going with Juneteenth and the colors, we actually added a little bit of red pepper.
Okay.
Awesome. And those chunks of bacon, you can kind of see them. This is serious business.
Yeah, I
Listen,
see.
you've got 30 years of culinary experience.
Yes.
You've been in the DC market for quite a long time now. This feels personal to you in terms of making good food and then connecting it to history, culture, education.
Well, I would say the most important thing that's happened, when you cook, you have to touch on the touchstones of time before.
Sure.
All we're doing is building off the building blocks that were behind us. The biggest thing is reading. You can't go everywhere, you can't be everywhere. So you have to read, you have to know where the stuff, what you're cooking and what it's coming from. Also, working with Smithsonian and being in the museum, it's even more heightened because the important part is that you have to connect. So a lot of the things that we do at the museum are in line, like one-to-one, with what's going on. So we've done things for different exhibits. So today is Juneteenth. We have a great Juneteenth menu that's kicking off today. The museum's actually open a little bit later this evening, and tomorrow as well for summer solstice.
Right.
So we have a lot of different things going on. But the food itself, we always do our best to reflect the culture from where it was, where we are, and where we're going.
All right. So look, I see some ribs over there as well. And then you got the ribs, just regular ribs, right? Pork ribs?
They're pork ribs, they're not regular ribs.
Yeah, well,
So,
Grill master over here.
I know, you can tell I don't eat pork now. Like now they're regular ribs. It's funny you talked about that because I used to eat pork. You know how you talked about what you did back then and now it's different.
things change and
Yeah,
diets
things
change.
change.
But
Yes.
so people get the idea because we're in a museum that yes, we are family friendly. We really cook. And not just our museum, all the museums. Each one has its own identity. But in our museum, we have a smoker. We have different equipment.
Nice.
And so we don't have the biggest crew, but everyone's really dedicated to what they do. And one of the most important things we do is try to cook everything from scratch.
Right.
So a lot of people think they're going to come in, it's going to be chicken tenders and hamburgers and french fries. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's for everybody.
Right.
But we also really try to reflect what's out there and what we can do. So the
Okay.
museum,
the
so our
passion
menu
behind it.
changes.
That's great.
Our menu changes with
Oh,
each
thank you.
season.
Let's go for the drink.
We're almost
Thanks,
out
Chef.
of
Thank you
time.
so much for
Thank
being
you so
here.
much. Thank
Happy
you for having me.
Juneteenth.
Yeah,
And I hope you
Yes.
enjoy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I don't even know what this is.
Oh, this is our hibiscus limeade.
Oh, I'll try. Thank you. Okay.
Cheers.
All right, a
I'm gonna
traditional
drink
drink.
It has no alcohol in it. I'm good.
It's fantastic.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
so
much for
much.
joining us.